You might have seen on a few of our videos that we have a FAB Dock docking system for Antoinette at home.
So that's a dry docking system to keep Antoinette out of the water so we don't need anti-foul.
So take a look. We're actually here at FAB Dock because we are getting a brand new FAB Dock. We're here at the factory to have a look at how they're putting ours together today. Welcome back to the Rudder. My name's Brooke and I'm here with Damian at the FAB Dock factories in Queensland, Australia. Now, why are we getting a new FAB Dock? Well, we've actually found out that our FAB Dock's just a little bit too narrow for Antoinette, so we're upgrading to a slightly larger one, but the best thing is we're getting all the brand new technology that FAB Dock has to offer. So we're here at the factory to show you the step-by-step process of how they're making our FAB Dock right here.
We're here in the loading dock where, like most factories, it's where everything starts and ends. Here is the finished product, all packed up, ready to ship internationally. But before we get there, we've got all the materials coming in, all the electronics, all the polyurethane, everything you need. But most importantly, the polyurethane, this really is the game changer. This material is 25 times stronger than the material we have on our FAB Docks now. It's stronger than seatbelt mesh. Premium, it's imported in from Germany. You'll note a few different colors. The colors are all about the strength of the polyurethane, and we'll see that later on. So the first thing that happens is we get these rolls and we go over to the cutting desk. So to get the polyurethane cut up, we come here to the large cutting table. There's a few different cutting tables around. This is the large cutting table, and it is not a sort of scissor template idea like dressmaking or something. This is a millimeter perfect laser guided machine that cuts the polyurethane into the templates required. And that's one of the amazing things about FAB Dock. They're just incrementally adjusting everything. They get feedback from customers. So we talk about the designer in a second, but they can come in and get new designs cut out every time. The cutter goes around and does all the marking up first, so you can see that it's marking everything up. And then once it's done all the marking, it'll go through and start doing cutting. I think it's cutting. Yep, so there's the cutting wheel. So now, because the table's only so large and the polyurethane comes in large rolls, the whole table moves forward and we can get the next section going. So there we go. It's pulling more material onto the deck. And here comes our cut pieces, kind of like a pizza oven. And look at that, precision. So what we've got here is the small cutting table, cutting out all the intricate pieces out of different, you can see the different textured polyurethane, they have different strengths. And so what it's cutting here is the D-rings. So we'll see them in a second. But also note millimeter precision cutting and marking of all the components. And that's what we're cutting out. I don't know what, and Brooke's modeling it very oddly.
So once all the different pieces for the FAB Dock are cut at the cutting table, this is where they store them all. You can see here all the different pieces of the pie. Now, this is the 25X and this is actually this is Antoinette FAB Dock, but you can see all the different models depending on what size boat or what configuration of boat you've got. So from here they take all the pieces and start putting them all together.
With all those components, there's two ways they can weld them together. One is with heat, which is it's kind of what you think about when you're welding. The other one is this machine here, which is dark magic. It's high frequency welding. It's using sound waves to bond the two materials together. I thought it would make some sound, but it's dead silent. So the two pieces of polyurethane are put there through a piece of aluminium or brass, and they are welded together. This is used for all the flat bonds, so the arrows, the D-rings, all those pieces. Just to put an arrow on a FAB Dock, we've got the yellow material, which is a different material, 3D machined aluminium block to take the high frequency waves. And one of the neat things with FAB Dock is nowhere in the process are there any glues. Everything is welded either by heat or by high frequency. So over time, obviously in marine environments, if you've got glue, salt water, sand, everything else will eventually get inside that glue. And if you've had an inflatable, you've probably experienced that where it just eventually falls off. And that, when the yellow light's on, that one there, that's the actual weld. So it only takes 9 seconds. And this is the only machine of its type in the Southern Hemisphere. And there we have a nice yellow arrow for your FAB Dock. So here's a finished example. You can see it's the small componentries. This is actually where the bilge pumps go at the very bottom of the FAB Dock. Very nasty piece of environment. So the bilge pumps go in there and get looped down. But there is absolutely no way. They are bonded together. They are completely welded. It's not like a gluing process where it will fail over time. It cannot fail. The other way to weld components together is with heat, and that's how they weld together the tubes. And this is actually our set of tubes for our FAB Dock being put together. And you can see the markings here made from the cutting table. You can see the D-rings and all the smaller components have been high frequency welded on, and now it's time to heat weld them together. So the guys will get the two parts of the tube, bring them together and put them through the hot air machine, which weirdly blows hot air, and we're talking really hot air, around 400 degrees, to weld those two bits together. So there's no glue, there's no way this will ever come apart. So here's the welder. You've got the hot air comes out of here, and you've got the two wheels pressed together and press the material together. Before every run, they just do a testing piece to make sure everything's going well. This is the testing piece from today. And you can see the weld, you actually start pulling the polyurethane apart before you pull the weld apart. And there's no way that's coming apart.
So one thing that makes FAB Dock so incredible is that these guys can build a FAB Dock to up to 100 foot. The biggest FAB Dock that they've built is for a 72-foot boat. And this is where the magic happens. Let's go see in here. This is where Matt does all the design process. So what sort of boats do you design FAB Docks for, Matt?
We can do standard outboard, shaft drive, stern drive, IPS. It really depends on how different your boat is and whether we can custom it, but we'll do our best to make it work.
So no matter what boat you've got, this guy can make it work for you.
We've done all the inflatable components, all the polyurethane, it's all welded together. Now, we need some way to get all the water out of your FAB Dock, and this is the electrical room. So in a FAB Dock, you have two massive bilge pumps that sit at the lowest point in the FAB Dock and are controlled by an electrical system. And we have here Dean, who is the owner of FAB Dock and has been doing incremental design and big change design to make the FAB Dock what it is today.
You're correct, Damian. The pumping system is critically important to keep your boat clean and dry. So trying to come up with a reliable pumping system has taken us 15 years to perfect this. The key aspect, apart from having two very reliable, fully submersible pumps in your FAB Dock, is how do we turn the pumps on and off. Along the journey of getting the FAB Docks to work, we've had to invent numerous things. One of the things we had to invent was our specialised float switch. This is the latest iteration of that, which is a new Bluetooth version. So you now get an app on your phone telling you what's going on with the electrical system on your boat. So as Damian mentioned, it's a 12-volt system, fully self-contained within the boat. So no requirement to plug in the external shore power 240 volt or 110 volt. So in fact, if you've got solar panels on your boat, not only are we trying to save the environment by not using anti-foul, but the whole thing's being run off solar panels.
A critical component of the FAB Dock are the bilge pumps. And here's the testing station. So they all get submersed and get forced to do a bunch of pumping before they're ever installed in a FAB Dock. So these are your two bilge pumps that are on the very bottom of the boat. We pretty much put everything together. It now just has to be shipped out.
3 days later.
Here we are a few days later back at the factory, and this is Antoinette's new little home. They do this before they send out each FAB Dock just for quality assurance to make sure everything is in place and it's going to be brilliant for the new owners. You can see the different colors of the polyurethane. The darker the color, the stronger the material. Down the end here, this is where you'll have things like the trim tabs, so it needs to be super strong. And this is where you'll have the bilge pumps in this section here. Now you'll note our original FAB Dock, this section here was black. Now they took on board feedback from previous owners and they've made this color white now, which is really great because you can see if there's any problems with your boat, like oil leaks and those sorts of things. So I guess the next step is the pack down, and then they're going to take it to our house and unveil it, and we'll put Antoinette in her new homes.
And there we have it, all packed up. Our FAB Dock is ready to go. The next time we'll see it will be on our pontoons. Very exciting. Here are some other ones. And I mean, it's quite incredible. That massive product gets put into these boxes and can get shipped around the globe.
So thanks so much to FAB Dock for allowing us to see this amazing, innovative process. Any comments, leave them in the comments box below, and we'll see you next time on the Rudder.